Hey, I'm Hailey.
And I'm Jessi.
And you're listening to
Personality Hire, the podcast where yesterday I needed to touch grass and I just felt like this could be a word for someone if you're spiraling today, because I was spiraling yesterday and I get in my own head and I have extremely dark thoughts. That is part of who I am. And yesterday I needed to leave the house to remind myself that what happens in the four walls of my home is not reality. That's not reality. Yes, it is to some degree. Like, that's my life, obviously. But in terms of like the dark thoughts that start to creep into my head, the way that I think that people think about me, or the way that my life is unfolding in front of me, those thoughts that I have when I am alone in my house during the day are not always reality. So if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling a little bit like you are socially overextended, or you're wondering if you've shared too much with other people, or you're scared that you're not arriving at where you're meant to be in your life at the right time, go outside and touch some grass. And I mean that literally. Go on a walk, go talk to another human, go get a coffee, go to the drive-thru, go browse the store, like talk to somebody else. Because yesterday, from the hours of 6 a.m. to I'm gonna put around 12:45 p.m., I was spiraling. I was going down, 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 to down, down, down. And then I went on a walk and I randomly ran into Hailey, who was also walking the same park.
Just kidding.
And I said, thank you, because I needed to touch grass and touch person. Reach out.
We touched each other.
We did. We hugged. We embraced.
Yeah. Do you understand? I was on the phone with my dad, and I was walking my nanny child, and I wasn't spiraling that hard in that moment per se, but as of late, most of my life is a spiral. But when I saw you, first of all, my first thought was like Malibu Barbie, because it was this convertible with this beautiful blonde. And I was like, living the life. It's a beautiful day for that. And I was like, oh, love that. Like, I was like, wait, that's my best friend. That's Jessi.
And we both had on red because yesterday was Lunar New Year. Yes. And we're trying to attract the good luck anywhere that we can. I'm trying to ride my fire horse all year long. Yeah.
Giddy up. Mm-hmm. I wore a full red outfit yesterday. Mm-hmm. I said, we ain't taking chances. No. And then my friend Megan informed me that it's okay if you don't wear all red, just some red. And she was like, and you like mix in some earth tones because to balance out the fire of the fire horse.
Oh, okay.
So for dinner last night, I went to a birthday dinner and I wore a mostly brown outfit, but I wore red undies. I know that's maybe TMI, but I said, listen, with the month I've had, we're not taking one chance. And I thought life was hard before that month started. So we are.
According to the internet, red underwear is extremely appropriate to wear, and it definitely counts.
And I did that.
Yeah.
Sorry if it's TMI, but a lot of people were doing that yesterday.
I am truly in on the fire horse agenda. I have hooked my wagon to the fire horse. A big fire horse.
Hunger Games catching fire. We're Katniss.
Yeah. Big Fire Horse Corporation has got me. I've hooked my little wagon to it. I'm going to be riding it all year long. I feel like, I think I said this before, like most things, because I'm basically running out of thoughts, but here I am every week. I feel like my new year starts around this time of year anyway. I feel really connected to the newness of spring in a way that January 1st absolutely does nothing for me, period. And I think that it just makes so much sense that we would have newness and think of a new like chapter or whatever when this world is coming back to life
during the bloom.
That's right. And so I also think that's anyway, Lunar New Year, you got the right idea. I'm in for it.
I don't care if it's woo woo. I'm into it simply because I need something fun, not that serious, and also because I've always agreed with you in that. Like, I've always agreed that spring is the new year. New Year's No. We smushed it in too close to. We've talked about the holiday smushing and
Yes.
how it's way too smushy, and I truly believe that the spring is a new awakening. Also, Easter, like all of that time feels like that is very New Year's. Like even as a Christian, like that feels like the start of rebirth, being reborn.
I also think too that
rising back up.
Ancient Chinese culture and civilization has been around for a long time. And I think that what they have been working on for all these eons, I'm sorry, like something's working there. And I just genuinely think that I think that it's interesting that like the zodiac and the that type of thing, I love that. I just love it. I think it's so
fun,
cool.
and it's interesting.
And I also think that it's such a good way to explain, like, I'm all for trying to explain things. And I know that
Same.
a lot of things don't need to be explained. But when I am spiraling and when I'm going down a path of self-deprecation or just self-worth is struggling, sometimes I find that if I focus on things that are like explanations of things that probably shouldn't have explanations, it helps me and pulls me out. Like that is a little bit of the grass that I can touch, because then I'm like, well, maybe my zodiac or whatever will unveil what's happening behind the curtain and I can make more sense of it, which will help me move on. That's where I was yesterday when I saw you.
Sense too. Like like think about when you explain things. When I think about faith in anything, whether it be like your religion or faith in in zodiac, or just believing in something and knowing something, or again, intellectualizing something, and having to put a reason behind everything. I think that is just such a human aspect to everything. Think about when we explain to a child, hey, you can't put your finger into that light socket because you electrocute yourself. We have to explain things to children so they understand. And sometimes they don't believe us until they see something happen. Oh, that's hot. That's hot. Until you know it's hot and you know what hot is, sometimes you want to touch it because you need some kind of reasoning behind it.
And you saying that though is funny because it also it goes into a little bit of what you and I were talking about on our walk yesterday, when we did like meet up very serendipitously, like not planned.
And I needed it.
We were,
Oh gosh.
I think that was why it happened, is because we both needed it. But we also got to talking about intuition, and it's funny because I know that I do search for explanations and things that maybe shouldn't have them or whatever. But I'm trying hard to tap more into my intuition. And intuition, for me anyway, the way I experience it is it doesn't have any rhyme or reason. There is no explanation to what I feel intuitive about a lot of times. I maybe sometimes see the reasoning why I felt the intuitive thing after the fact. Like it unveils itself once I've made the decision or once I've gotten the feeling about it. But in the moment, while it's happening to me, when I'm listening to my intuition, it's truly a trust the gut, trust the process type of situation, because I don't always know, there's no explanation behind it. Right. And so that's why it's hard to trust it. But you and I were just kind of talking about how that inner voice is, I think it's God talking to us truly and telling us that we are like, that there's something bigger there. But also I think that it's such a testament to trusting yourself and your own, like your own moral compass, that maybe you don't even know that it's there day to day, but inside of you, it's always working. And that little intuitive thought that comes into your mind, it's like that little compass inside of you that's like we got to redirect or keep going or whatever.
Or something's off.
Yeah.
And no, truly, I think one, if you aren't religious, you could look at it from a survival standpoint too. I always think of like cavemen and women, like when it was, we were given skills so we could discern what was going on, so we could save our people in our village. Like, I get headaches around the time where there's a lot of storms. Why does that trait carry on throughout time? Well, because it was something that kept us alive at one point, I believe. But from what we're talking about, like that gut intuition, for me personally, I have always really had a strong inner voice of like knowing. It's kind of like when we've talked about, like, I'm very like, I know what I want and I know what I don't want. If I don't know what to do about a situation, it's because I don't have enough information. And so I always try to remind myself that, like, if there's an audition, like I got an audition last night for something that I was running to the birthday dinner. So I was reading the email, but I wasn't reading and copy and pasting names like I normally do and throwing them into Google right away to see like who's producing this, who's all involved. I always try to see who the team is first, because that kind of gives you some background on what kind of project it's going to be and what it might be like, especially if the storyline is vague, or if there are some aspects of the storyline that could be conflicting with something that I want to align myself with. And I think it's always important when you have that question in the beginning of anything, like you get information and you see the information, but you're like, I don't know. And I did further research on the project, and I truly don't think it's something that I would be proud to be a part of. So that gave me that information to say, no, I can say confidently, even though I'm an actor and every opportunity matters, being in front of casting matters every single time. In this situation, do I want to put myself out there to possibly, one, drag on people who are trying to cast and trying to do their job? If I know I don't want to be a part of this, or I'm not the right fit, I know better than they know. And that's not like when, I get a role and it says 45-year-old male. No, I know that the casting directors bring me in because I'm the wild card. They just want me to say the lines like me. They, like how I interpret it. They don't want me to be a 45-year-old man. But it's harder to discern for yourself when it's something that's like, well, I am an actor. This would be just acting. But then you have an inner voice that tells you something that's, whether it's maybe I don't align with this, or based on what the story is about, can you imagine the people who are passionate about getting this story made? And these are the people you're working for and with. It's all of that. Like, it's about having that information. And sometimes we don't have that information. Yeah. But we were talking a lot yesterday about intuition, and then also aligning that with
decision making. Yes. And I was going to say too that I talked to you yesterday about how I have recognized patterns in myself throughout my life that I make a lot of decisions based on impulsivity. And that's something that I have truly pinpointed in the last year, that I come from a place of, when opportunities come up, no matter what, I tend to say yes out of impulse, and B, I'm always wondering if this is going to be the last opportunity that comes across my desk, yes. So I tend to say yes to things without really consulting my gut or my intuition. Mm-hmm. And that just stems from me wanting to give myself as many opportunities as possible to better myself, my life, and also really just explore the world around me. As cheesy as that sounds, it is true. But I think that making decisions based on what you intuitively feel, or your gut feeling, kind of like what you're saying, when you're making these decisions about roles that might be right for you or wrong for you, that is so much more powerful. But it does mean that you're going to probably say no to some things. And you could have, for the interim, that voice inside of you that says, I should have said yes, or what would have happened if I said yes. But that also just goes back to me really thinking that intuition doesn't reveal itself until after you've listened to it. Yeah. You have to just trust it. And that is really scary. Mm-hmm. But that's also where it comes from. Like, look at your own track record with yourself. When you've really trusted yourself, you have to look at your own track record and go, I've never steered this ship wrong. And that's where the trust comes in. And the older you get, and the more that you have, the more opportunities you have to listen to your intuition, the more you trust yourself. Yeah. The more you trust yourself. And I just feel like, as far as the decision-making process goes, again, you and I were just talking so much about leaning on listening to your intuition versus the impulse of will I have an opportunity like this again? And the answer is yeah,
you will.
Yeah.
Also, especially if it's meant for you. And again, I'm coming from my belief system, which I believe that, God put us on earth and gave us all of this plan. And unfortunately, I almost said unfortunately, but fortunately, we can do very little. Besides, you can do what you can do is not listen to that intuition over and over and over and over and over again. And you're going to have to keep learning the same lesson over and over if you do that. But if you learn to lean in and have faith in that intuition and listen to your gut, you're going to have more alignment with your life just in general. But we are all just children and we're all just learning all the time. So it's not like you're not going to mess up even if you do feel like you have a strong intuition. But leaning into that voice, the more you do it, that is exactly it. Like I feel like as a child, I had to listen to my intuition a lot. So now, and we also talked about like rejection and again, fear of missing out or fear of like missing that one chance. I don't think we're powerful enough to do that. First of all, if it's truly meant for us, it's going to find you. I do believe that. That the speed in which it finds you, TBD. But listening to that and being okay with, I'm going to shoot my shot. Let's see what happens. If it doesn't work out, fine. If I still feel called to keep pursuing that same thing, let's try it again. Okay, it's still not working. Let's redirect how we're doing it.
And I think too, even if you listen to yourself and you say that was the right decision, it doesn't mean that decision is easy or it's going to come easy to you. But I do think that in some ways we've been programmed to believe that struggle and sacrifice equate to living a life that's worthy of good things that come to you. And I just don't really believe that any longer. Maybe I did at some point, thinking that the harder you work and the more you sacrifice and the more you struggle and the more that you force yourself to believe that these things that you're doing you're meant to hurt, is what I'm trying to say. That sometimes I think that we force ourselves to believe that our lives are meant to be hard and that we're meant to struggle and meant to hurt. And I just don't believe that's true anymore. I think that the things that are aligned with who you are meant to be, they come to you much, much, much easier. So I'm not saying if you listen to yourself and your gut and you follow that path, it's going to be easy all the time, but there will be signs along the way that tell you that you're on the right path. There will be lights. There'll be little lanterns along the way that will tell you that you're moving in the right direction, as opposed to if you're met with constant opposition, and I'm talking constant opposition, that really might be a time to reflect and say, is this the path?
Yeah.
Is this the path? Because the roadblocks don't stop. Again, I'm not talking about hurdles.
Also
Hurdle, like jumping a hurdle and then coming to a complete stop, are two different things in my mind. I'm just talking about like if you are met with complete and total nothing but fence after fence after fence, and it's climbing higher and higher and higher above your head, it might be time to say, I got to get right with myself because maybe I need to redirect.
Also, are you seeing, and then that, and are you seeing, it's always good to remind yourself, what color glasses am I wearing today? Am I seeing everything in a bad light too? And where are the sparkles? If there are none, you're probably not going the right direction. But I truly believe that most people will have a little idea in their gut that, oh, this isn't working out. Obviously I can't speak to everyone's experience, but like, even on Monday morning, I woke up just with a pit in my stomach. Right now, it's just pretty average for me to wake up being like, oh gosh, what's going to happen today? And I was having this horrible, like, it was all in my head, by the way. And I was actually voice noting my friend Megan about something completely different while I was driving. And I was like, blah, blah, blah. And in my head, all I was thinking of like, girl, you've been pushing your acting career for so long, which by the way, I've seen the green flags. I've seen the green means go, keep going.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean I'm not a little petulant child in my little faith heart sometimes, and I'm working on that. But sometimes I'm like, especially when things are really hard, like as they are now.
Yes.
I'm a little crybaby. And so I am sitting there and I'm saying in my mind, I'm talking to God and I'm like, God, you know my heart and I know what you've placed in my heart. I need help right now. Like I feel hopeless. Like I need hope. And I turned off my exit and I'm thinking all of these things and I go, oh, and I'm literally talking to Megan. I go, oh, I just saw a yellow set sign, like a sign pointing to set. And you see those a lot in Atlanta, but not as of lately. Like, I don't see them as often as I used to. So pulling off my exit and seeing it right there at my exit where my house is right there. And I'm seeing the 2 set sign and I'm like, that's all I needed. I just needed a reminder that, it's the right path.
Yeah.
And we do have to look out for those things. I also think that sometimes when things are really hard, we miss the lesson in them because we're too distracted with how we feel and not really like, where is this turning me? And I think we can use that towards our intuition.
One thing I admire about you is you're so good at, and I think this is probably a little bit of like how you're raised and maybe where you were raised and just like what was the tools given to you from a young age. But I admire that you're able to really look at situations without an emotional bias. You really do that so well. And I'm not saying that you're like out of touch emotionally. I'm just saying when it comes to looking at a whole situation and navigating where to go from there or thinking through what the other person's intention was or were, you take the emotion out of things. Whereas everything is emotional for me and it's exhausting. It is really exhausting, but I come by it honestly and I'm not trying to make everything this emotional roller coaster. But I think that you and I having this kind of partnership and it like, of course we have a friendship outside of this, but having this as our partnership, I think is good because you can keep me balanced. You can keep my fire horse tamed.
Yeah.
My emotional fire horse, because you're really good at looking at things like you're saying about like what lens, what rose colored or non-rose colored glasses am I looking at today? I really struggle with that sometimes because sometimes I really feel like I only have 2 pairs of glasses. One are beautiful rose and the other one are pitch black.
Yeah.
Like that's truly how glasses. I feel sometimes. Yeah. Like I only got 2. I think you've got a really better grip on seeing things for how they really are sometimes.
Well, I'd like to thank my, trial lawyer father, Groot, and my trial lawyer mother. I think that plus also, I also think it's the faith and in Jesus. And then I also think it is also me being an actor and having to reading things that I would never say and having to figure out how I'm going to live this scene as if I would do it and putting myself in this scenario and imagining a world. And it's constantly putting yourself in other people's shoes. But I would also like to say, as far as that is something that also is something that I probably have because it was a survival skill at one point to understand others and to forgive in my past. And so I think emotions though too, sometimes we think that they're all bad, but like really emotion is a beautiful thing. I love when people have emotion. I love that you have these big emotions too, because you also allow me to, I don't want to whip my fire horse, excuse me. You allow me to go, what do you, giddy up. Like you just, I don't kick my horse. I'm sorry.
You're not kicking but that's how you communicate with horses. Yes. You're not whipping them or anything. You're just giving them a little bit of like a nudge to be like, we got to get up and
like
go.
Me trying to people please my fire horse right now. Like
we're not,
you give me permission to lean into my emotions, and that helps me because I'm a very forgiving person, and people take advantage of that.
You're very forgiving.
You help me to understand and find the balance between, okay, yes, because for me and for the person I want to be in my future and the person I want to be in this world is I want to be forgiving and I want to understand people. But where I get very schlippy and where you help me so much is holding up a boundary and saying, I forgive you, but we're going to have to 6 feet distance. Wear your mask. I forgive you, but I also want to forget you. We've brought that up before the hills. Lauren Conrad.
Truly, and I forgot where it came from till you reminded me. That is truly how I feel. This is not necessarily apples to apples what you're saying, but I recently, and I've done this in the past and I used to beat myself up for it, but I've gone through some like friendship breakups, but also I've gone through some like not very tumultuous like acquaintance, like I've reevaluated you as an acquaintance and like, I don't think so. And when that happens, sometimes I feel like people have too much access to me, and because I am a very emotional person and I wear my heart on my sleeve and the highs are high and the lows are low, I give access to myself to a lot of people. And the only way that I feel like I can take that back sometimes in the moment when I'm feeling with my sunglasses on, not my rose colored glasses, is like blocking people on the internet. Like, yeah. And because that is my number one go-to when I feel like I'm like, you've got too much access to me. You can look at pictures of me at any time that you want. You can see what I'm doing at any time. Again, I can choose what I'm sharing, but there's just, I'm not the first person to say this, but I don't think we were ever intended as a species to have people have this much access to us at all times. So I truly went and I cleaned house a little bit on my social media at the beginning of the year. And I didn't just say like, I'm going to mute you or you can't. I'm like, no, I'm blocking you because I don't think that like I can feel the emotional suck even through the series of tubes, even through Bill Gates's internet, you know? And I know that might seem so childish to some people, but the only tool that sometimes I feel like I have in this era of modernity is I'm gonna block you.
But you know what? I also think that is like,
but you would never do that. You would never do that. You would never do that's another like big difference between you. You would never do that.
Well, because
you're forgiving.
I also think that,
and you're open,
because I do believe my calling on this earth is to be a light. And I think it is in the light, meaning like bringing peace to people. I want to, and also understanding to people. And I think that's why I love storytelling and acting. And I love art in that way, because you can reach so many people without having to have the same culture background, without having to just have the same idea, belief system. And I think that's really cool. So I'm okay with not aligning with people, not wanting them in my personal space. I also have an easy time with seeing people for what's really going on. I mean, it may take me a second to get there in understanding them, but having someone who maybe I don't want to have access to me personally, we will not hang out, is what I'm saying. But being friends on the internet aren't friends, meaning they can see me and I can see them on the internet, not blocking them. I think I still see them as like, oh, well, our friendship didn't work out, or our thing isn't aligned because you have this part about you and I can't deal with that. So just knowing that gives me peace, and I don't have any more feelings about it.
See, that's so good.
I can have peace with it.
I do, like, now that I'm like thinking through it, I completely regret admitting that I did that, but I also am being vulnerable. There's nothing
wrong with that.
I'm being vulnerable in the sense of like really me blocking the couple of people at the beginning of the year that I needed to block came from my feelings were so hurt, but it really does also come from the fact that like the unbelievable access to me never sits right with me if I know that your intentions for me are like you've got malice in your heart for me, and that you're mean. And the people that I feel like I've had to do that to, I've genuinely been like, there is a darkness to you, there is a meanness to you, and it will not sit right with me to know that you can type my little name in on Instagram or whatever and inspire me. And I think a lot of it too, if I'm going to be really honest here, is it has to do with the fact that I have a daughter and I don't share her on the internet really ever. But that to me is another level of, I don't want your darkness to get anywhere near her. And I know as I'm saying this, people are rolling their eyes and going, it's just the internet, it's just social media, whatever. And that's fine. And you're right. You actually are probably right. But it's so, I can't describe the way that I feel like a protective nature over her in my life because of her.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds so stupid. I don't think
it sounds stupid, by the way, because I don't, by the way, I do. And there's only 2 people that I have, 3. I've blocked 3 people from seeing my story, 2 in which were related to my ex, and one being my ex, like, who's surprised. I don't even think I need to say that. No. I think people would assume. And it's also, you're blocked from my stories, because my stories, I feel like, give a daily insight where I'm like, oh, my posts, first of all, I don't post that often.
That's also why I'm like, this is so stupid, because I feel like I post either.
But listen, I think that's okay, because even if it's something in your brain that you need to tell yourself, like, no, there is a person, and I will tell you after, remind me to tell you, but there is a person that I have no bad blood with at all. I don't think. But I feel a weird feeling about the way they feel about me. I just feel it. Like, I know, and you know. I know in my gut, this person does not like me. And they might not like me because they think I'm selfish. They might not like me because they think I'm full of myself. I don't know. Or they think that I'm obnoxiously positive. Like, they could think anything. And it doesn't matter what they think. It really doesn't, because why? But anyway, I know when they view my story that they're like thinking these things, because I've seen the way they've acted when I'm not around, or how they've decided to interact with me when I pull away some of my energy from them. And I'm telling you, when someone has bad feelings for you. And it's totally okay. And I even thought about it this morning. I was like, maybe I should mute this person so I don't get a reminder that this person possibly is preying on my downfall, which you must be having a ball, Miss Thang. But I also think that, like, that's okay to do, because it's also for your mind and for your heart. Yeah. Like, it's not for them. It's not to say they're going to come punch me.
No.
No, it's more of like, no, I don't need to be reminded that you see me seeing you, like.
And it's also too,
it's
really,
energy. Well, it's bad energy. And you don't want to, again, that's turning my rose-colored glasses to transitional lenses into the blackout shades. Like, I don't want to go there. If that's a reminder and taking me further away from the light that I want to bring and the light that I want to have in my life, then I'm gonna.
It just goes, I think really what it is it's like, if I know in reality, in the real world realm, A, we don't talk anymore. B, I know what you've said about me. And C, it's unkind. Why in the hell would I allow you to have access to me in a pretend world? That's, I guess it's really where it's coming from. And it's kind of like, I understand that social media it's what you make of it. It can be a nothing burger, or it can also be a total extension of yourself. It could be your livelihood for a
lot of people it is.
And maybe for you and I, it will be a bigger part of our livelihood one day, who knows? But I just feel like, I don't know why I even wanted to share that, other than it's just been on my mind, because
I think a lot of people will relate to that.
It seems so, in one hand, childish to admit that made me feel better, because it did make me feel better. But then on the other hand, it makes me feel like I'm in control of something that feels bigger than me sometimes. And this is also, I think, a glimpse into, like, I talked about yesterday. This is a small glimpse, if you haven't picked up what I'm putting down already, into my spiral brain. Like big emotions, big spirals, highs are high, lows are low, blocky fingers get blocky. And it's so funny because, if you're listening and we're friends in real life, I'm not talking about you.
Well, no, yeah. If you're listening, you're probably a friend.
Obviously. Yeah. And also, like, if you're an acquaintance, I'm also not talking about you,
Oh, definitely not.
And I don't think that anyone's saying that they are, but
if the people heard this, they would exactly know who they
would exactly know. Yeah. And if they would listen to this, then I would say my point has been proven on why I blocked you. If you know who you are and you're listening to this, and that also,
I think I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree fully. I don't think the spiral brain of this person can see me, I'm receiving that poor energy. I think that is unfortunately just a part of having discernment for ourselves and what we need, because also if that is going to help your spiral brain, because
I'm not going to lie, my intuition told me to do it on a random night. I literally sat up out of bed because something in me said you need to do this, and I did, and I listened to it.
I think that is a really good thing to do, and I so relate to having that feeling of having people not be around but still be lingering in the presence, like whether it be in conversation or if you just see them viewing. Like when I see certain people, I screenshot things and I send them to you.
I know
there are some people that I'm like, I'm public on Instagram because I'm an actor, and I think it is a part of my career no one told me I had to, but I do think it helps to show my personality online and be available for people to get to know, because I love storytelling.
Also, it's fun. It can be fun.
And it can be fun, and it's silly, goofy. But sometimes people, when I see them viewing my story, who don't follow me, who aren't a part of my life, and I know they're just looky-looing, I get a feeling in my gut, that should if I held on to it for too long, I would definitely block them. Because if it's going to affect the way I'm looking at the world today, it's not worth it. So I don't think blocking is immature. I don't think it's dramatic. Also, if that person gets blacked, then they deserve to get blacked for whatever reason. And it's probably in their best interest too to get blocked.
I feel like Drake has blocked people for less than me. Like think about I'm trying to think of the celebrities that have like a well-known internet culture around them, that they are like well-known to block random everyday people.
Craig Conover of Southern Charm blocks people. He's like, you said you didn't like my tie? Block. Which, you know what? If he needs to do that, then he needs to do that.
He's protecting access to himself and his mental health with people that are talking trash about him. And I understand that. I totally get that.
I don't think that it's dramatic at all. I think we do need to block people in real life, like, more often. And
it's easy to block people in real life once you've blocked them on the internet, because if they're going to go looking for you, they're going to see what you've done, and then they're going to go, they know. It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing too that I was thinking as I was doing the blocking was that I have never, or I've rarely run into someone in my life now that I felt like, how am I going to phrase this? People that I left out of my life in the past, or people that I've outgrown or moved on from, once I decide, or once we mutually decide that we're no longer meant for one another's lives, I rarely, if ever, have seen them again.
That's stunning.
Ever.
And that's on God. Literally.
I really haven't. Like, I've rarely, if ever, seen them again in my day-to-day life. Like, and that truly is how I know that it was the right decision, because we never crossed paths. And I'm not saying we ever won't, but it's not like I keep seeing her at the bank. I keep seeing her at the bank.
Again,
I keep seeing her at the whatever.
You keep seeing somebody or something keeps popping up. What does it mean? Look into it.
I don't know. But
think on it.
I will say, once I've made that decision, we've never run into one another again. And it's not because I'm like dodging them at every second. It's just because it naturally, that's how the cookie crumbled. And I think that's the way it was meant to be.
And also, you're deciding, I know this is going to feel woo-woo. And maybe I'm also thinking of like my personal experience of like when I've wanted to block people from seeing my story or whatever, it's been because I just know they're hate watching me, because they're nosy, and people are very nosy. People are very nosy, especially, this is a little bit of a sidebar, but when my mom passed, I've found that I've had people, which by the way, again, I've had such a hard time getting back to everyone. I've been trying to do 2 to 3 people a day. And I'm keeping like people who I really have a lot to say to, like they're going to be last because I need more energy for them. Or maybe not that, or they're just like later on in the text.
It doesn't matter. You're going to do it whenever you feel like it.
But I've noticed that people are a lot more curious and have a lot more to say about what I'm doing and how I'm going about what I'm doing right now. And I have felt more Jessi than ever, where I'm like, oh, I'm about to block you. I'm about to block you. I know you're analyzing, like psychoanalyzing everything I'm doing because you know that I'm going through a tough time. That's bad energy. I just know that's not well intended. And if I know that and I can protect my peace, I will. But I was going to say that the only time that I've ran into people that I don't want to see anymore is because of like, I've still been hanging around people that still hang around them.
Totally.
And that's really like, it's a big decision.
It's not like you were out in your organic life and you were like, oh my God, guess what I saw? It's like, I knew that there was a chance being with this person that I was going to see this person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's purposeful. You've chosen, you've said in your brain, this is no longer in my zeitgeist. And now it is not.
Yeah. And
you made a decision.
And it's really, truly like you pick your reality a little bit in terms of the choices that you make. And I don't know, I just feel like was something that I realized and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But it also made me feel good for the other person as well, just in where it was like, okay, well, we both made the right decision, you know?
Mm-hmm. There's peace with that.
There is. Like, I truly, like, to use a boyfriend's, for example, once the breakup happened and I knew it was the right move, truly never saw him again. Didn't say I never heard from them again. Didn't say I never heard from them again. Didn't
6 months later.
Didn't say they didn't send a courier pigeon. Didn't say they didn't send a little courier pigeon. Didn't say they didn't send me a little text. Didn't say they didn't send me a little email. But did I see? But literally. But did I see them face to face after? No, I didn't. So that let me know.
Sometimes people will literally move to Idaho. They will move to Idaho out of your life.
It's true.
So,
and honestly, sometimes that's for the best.
I think all of the time.
If you skedaddle out of my state, then I know I'm good. I'm feeling good.
Aligned.
Like I'm feeling like we're not. Yeah. I'm feeling like that was the right thing.
Totally.
For you, for me, and the deep blue sea.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
That is between us.
Oh, and it was betwixt us. Yeah. Anyway, I'm so happy that we ran into each other yesterday. That's like the 3rd time it's happened.
Yeah.
That Hailey and I have just very spontaneous, serendipitous. I think serendipitous is the right use of that word. Seeing each other on our little walks, and so we had a little chat, and it was a good one.
Yeah, it was really good. I think that also when you were saying it, you didn't think it was by accident that we ran into each other. Well, I don't either. I also think that you have people in your life, like when we're talking about relational situations, you have to decide, and we were talking about this last week a little bit privately about, I'm having growing pains as a friend because you're teaching me, again, going back to, yes, I can put on all these different colored glasses and I can put myself in other people's shoes. And sometimes I can be overstretched and overextended in a way that I almost go cross-eyed. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I know you're not trying to hurt me intentionally. No, maybe not, but maybe they're being selfish in a time where they really need to be selfless. Like, and you reminding me to check those moments. And because they're not going to take care of me, and they've proven that. Like,
no. And sometimes you have to, I think, weigh the situation between, are they not taking care of me emotionally as a friend because they don't know how, because this is over their emotional depth, or because they don't care? And if you think that it's the latter, which I'm sorry, sometimes it unfortunately is the latter, that's when it's time to say, my fire horse is going to beat up your fire horse. Actually, you don't have a fire horse anymore.
Also, you can decide that in that time of your life, we have to put the brakes on our relationship right now, because I can tell you don't have the emotional awareness, and I don't have time to give it to you anymore. So I'm going to pull back my own self and protect my own self and just live, laugh, love. And there doesn't need to be anything dramatic about it. It just needs to be like slowly backing in the bushes. And that's literally how any kind of friendship bracelet, breakup I've ever had. It's not been a breakup. It's been a friendship, Hailey backing into the bushes.
And to be frank, with you, me, and Dupree, with you, me, and everyone who's experienced this, there is nothing like a parent dying that will help you to understand who's really in your corner and who's not. And I'm not saying you didn't send me a text. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's nothing like a big traumatic event in your life to help you there. It's almost as though the veil falls, and what you've been looking at with maybe blurry vision is crystal fucking clear. Crystal clear. Yeah. I'm not talking about somebody who like, well, you didn't send me a text that you're sorry. I'm talking about something happens to your mental capacity for bullshit. It truly changes. Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously, don't tell me you're having the worst day of your life and that you let a boy mistreat you again for the millionth time, and tell me how horrible your life is because of that, when I'm, when I've just told you,
or it's just
whatever.
Like whatever.
Which that has not happened, by the way. I'm just using that as an example.
The priorities of people, or just the way they treat you in general, outside of like, it's almost as if, even if the death or the trauma didn't happen, it's almost as if you have this new lens to look with that is a magnifying glass on the way you were being mistreated all along. Sometimes it's just, it's wild. I don't wish that on anybody. I don't want that to happen to you. I hope that it doesn't ever happen to you, honestly. But if it does, you'll know what I'm talking about. And then we can throw it in a circle together and say, that happened to me too.
No, seriously, the lenses, of being able to sense bull's crap. Like, I'm literally just, we're good because I have this much energy, and it needs to go towards the things it needs to go towards. So I can't even give you like any kind of feeling. It can't even be a feeling of like, oh, you suck, you're not a good friend. Like, I can't even say that. Like, it's so, we're good.
Yep.
We are so good.
The other thing I was going to point out, that just hitting my last point on you and I being tethered together in the brain region, was Hailey and I were like, we need to go on a girls trip. We need to do something. We haven't been away together, just the two of us, in a long time. And I said, do we want to do the beach? And then she and I were both like, I think we want to do we like a city.
Well, we really want to throw fits.
We want to throw fits.
So much fun.
And we want to hit the pavement.
Yes, we want to hit the pavement.
I like to
Even though I love the beach.
Of course.
I love to hit sand too. But
we want to hit the streets
together
on the streets.
Networking.
Absolutely. We like to meet the peeps. Like, we like to be on the streets. So then in my mind this morning, I was like, I have a city in mind, and I really think that she's going to go for it. And I think that it would be the perfect trip for us when it starts to get a little warmer in the next couple months. Hailey, I come over here, we're getting ready to record, and she has on her cute little athletic gear. And then she goes, you know what? I'm actually going to throw on a jacket. She throws on a little, the jacket she has on, her little bomber varsity jacket, comes in front of me and turns around, and the back of it says Chicago, which is exactly the city that I was going to tell her that I want to go with her to. And she had the jacket on, and I said, this will be an everlasting love. This will be. Isn't that what Match.com
Oh, yes.
has their thing? Was it
Maybe.
Match.com?
I don't remember. I don't know if they have commercials anymore.
But anyway, I just feel like you and I have been on a pretty tight, good wavelength lately.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think we kind of always are. There's things where, like, by the way, you guys, this is just a fun fact for the pod. I might have said it already. The brain fog is real. But do you know our moms have the same birthday?
My brain blocks that out from time to time because it freaks me out so good.
Yeah, it's really freaky.
Like, it really freaks me out in a way that it's weird.
Yeah.
It really is weird. Not the same birth year, the same birthday, and that freaks me
That's
out.
freaky. It's freaky. Anyway, that freaks me out all the time. But also, that one time my dad told me, Groot told me that my name, he wanted to spell it Haile. Hello? Oh, no.
With an I.
Haili. Like with an I.
Yeah.
Like Jessi with an I.
Jessi with an I. Hailey with an I.
And I'm like, that was crazy. Why'd you tell me that? Also, what's crazy is my dad was like, you're not going to be a clown. You're not going to be a professional clown. Do you know that the name Hailey, my parents, the reason why they gave me that name is that Kelly Ripa had it in that one soap opera, The Young and the Restless. Her name was Hailey in it, spelled like me, I think. Or maybe they spelled it, whatever. Anyway, but that's where they got the idea for the name Hailey.
By the by, Kelly Ripa's whole life trajectory fascinates me.
Oh, it's very fascinating.
Her, like, model to soap to Regis and Kelly to Kelly and Ryan to Kelly and her husband Pipeline.
Wait, Kelly and Michael too. Don't forget him.
Kelly and Michael.
Yeah.
That's true. Kelly and Michael. Like, that whole pipeline. Wild. Oh, the last thing I want to say. I don't even know if I should say this.
Say it.
No, because it's kind of freaky and sad, and I don't think I want to end this episode on a sad thing. I'm going to tell you this off.
You have to tell me off.
I will
mic,
tell you
because
off
now I'm
mic.
curious like a cat.
It has to do with like a pop culture topic, but it's kind of sad. But I'll tell you in a little bit.
Well, I want to know, to finish off, I do want to know what, for your new year, Happy New Year, guys. What is your excitement? It doesn't have to be something that like lasts throughout the year, but what is your excitement for the shedding of last year in the stepping into a new skin suit? Did that freak you out? Because it freaked me out.
What's getting me excited for this coming year?
Yes.
Kind of thing. Also, the vocal fry, when I said that, I hated that.
What?
I'm going to say that again. I said it like this, and I was like, I noticed that I did, and vocal fry freaks me out.
I don't like it.
So you're asking me what I'm excited about for the coming year?
Yes.
Okay. I am excited to continue to follow my career passion / what is unfolding in front of me. I want to continue to do that because that's making me happy. And I also want to, I've been in such a good place of learning about myself. And I had thought that maybe at this point in my life, you kind of know a lot about yourself. And what I'm finding is I know very little about who I really am. And that made me sad for a little bit, but now it actually excites me because it lets me know that I'm still quite young because I haven't experienced everything and there's a lot left to learn about myself. And it also makes me feel like I have an opportunity to like myself more. And appreciate yourself. Yeah. And that would be great. I would love to do that because like I've said for the 14th time, sometimes in my head, the highs are high and the lows are low. And I would like to get to a place where maybe, who knows, maybe I'm on a prescription this time next year. Maybe I'm on a nice prescription to even me out. What is it called? Vyvanse?
That's not evening you out. Vyvanse?
Isn't that?
I don't think that evens people out.
I do. I think for people with my condition, it does. But anyway.
Okay. I thought maybe.
I just think that I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue to figure out who I am more so I can have more happy thoughts.
Yes. Yeah.
And I want to continue to do this podcast and rock I want to rock it.
I want to rock the mic.
I want to rock it.
I want to totally rock this. Yeah.
And I'm not going to do any more game shows. That's my other thing. What about you?
You know what? I'm very excited. And I'm using the words very excited as in like, I'm truly looking forward to the person that I'm becoming in this next chapter, what I'm learning and what I am going to become of all of this. Because I know that when I was little and I was going through things as a child, I remember asking myself, why me? Why me? Why do I have to go through this? Why do all my friends, get to have this and that, their mom here, why did they not have to know this lesson that I know? And there's been times in the last month where I've thought that again. And I've been like, man, I'm strong. And when people say, you're so strong, sometimes it's like, I don't want to be. And that's where the petulant child of faith comes in, where I'm like, I know, I'm throwing a fit a little bit, and that's okay because I'm learning and growing, but I'm excited to come into the understanding of why, or maybe not why things are happening, but the purpose behind them and who that is going to make me be and what I'm going to be able to give because of it. Give myself, give others, give everything, give my career. I'm excited to have this knowledge because I do see the difference in people, especially now, who have life experience. And I mean, you didn't go on study abroad. I'm not talking about studying abroad, which that is life experience. But I'm saying the things that you can't run from, that life has dole out to you. I am truly very excited to get to know the person that I'm becoming and having that help me live the rest of my life, because I truly think my life will be more enjoyable when I have the appreciation of that. So I'm excited for that. Yeah. I'm really excited to step up in that way. And I know it's going to be a long time before I can feel that, but I already feel it now.
I think sort of what I hear you describing is that you are looking forward to the gifts that come from the pain and the gifts, because that is truly when something,
the superpowers I'm gaining,
when something hurts there is a gift that can come from it. And you just said it yourself, but it might be a minute before the gifts start to make themselves apparent.
I feel like I have them. And that's the crazy part. I've had a few friends say, especially with and I think they hear when I'm auditioning or whatever, they're like, are you sure you want to do that right now? Do you want to do that? And I'm like, well, I'm saying no to the things because I have that bullcrap meter. I'm saying no to the things I would normally do because I would feel well, I should take every opportunity. And I'm like, nope, I already know that's not for me. And I don't have the energy to be 100% for it. So I shouldn't be doing it, because honestly, I need to be bringing 110%. And what we talked about this yesterday, but I feel as if this time has taught me that I've already worked so hard. I've worked so hard. So now I can sit back and let my grief be the work. And living in grief, that's what I need to be focusing on now, so I can be in it and experience it and really get everything I can out of it in a positive way. I mean it in a positive way. I know that sounds I think people, when I say that, they think I'm trying to run through the grief or get it over with. No, I'm telling you, I know it's going to be for the rest of my life, for the rest of my days on this earth. I know that grief will change and it'll evolve and it'll go back. It's going to be a roller coaster, as life is. But I am excited to have those tools, because I just think it's going to bring me more purpose. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm not excited for how painful it's going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that.
But it won't be the last painful thing you experience, which is,
but also when you realize that pain is just a part of the gift of life. And I know, like, I don't even like hearing it that way, but it truly is. I feel so blessed to have the life that I have and to have the people around me that I have. So if I have like these really painful moments in this big blip of life on this timeline, like when I was 16 and I went through a breakup, when my boyfriend said I wasn't cute, so he broke up with me, like when I was 16, that felt like the biggest thing at that moment. And now I'm like, LOL, smiley face. I will say it to that person's face because I think it's so funny.
But it was to 16-year-old Hailey. It was.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that is not purposeful. I'm saying that now I can look back at it and now I realize that didn't matter, or that what it taught me, whatever it taught me, you know, whatever lessons that moment taught me. I didn't need
I know you're
to,
not
like,
disparaging 16-year-old Hailey. I'm just saying I think what you're saying is you've already have evidence that your pain
can be used for purpose
and evolve and evolves to make you the bigger, better, greater you.
Yeah.
And
makes me a better friend, makes me a better actor.
Yeah.
I already know, like, especially like right after my mom died, I was like, and like, you know, things keep happening. It's not just that. Things are hard. But I'm like, dang, I'm actually, and I know it makes people feel uncomfortable right now because it's a new side to my humor, but the dark humor is getting me through. It is so funny. And I think that in itself is a lesson. And I really don't care if it makes other people feel uncomfortable unless I'm offending someone, which I don't think that's the case. I think they're just more worried about me. Which I don't think
how to respond. I find it with dark humor, they see the humor in what you're saying, but they don't know if they're allowed to say
that's
a
funny.
Scary thing back to you or not.
And they can.
Yeah.
You can say something scary to me. But also, again, going back to the friends that we might need to like back into the bushes about or block, I also look at some of those experiences and I'm like, oh, I don't think a lot of those people have a lot of life experience. And it might make it harder for them to be a friend. And again, putting on my lenses that before my mom died, I could have a little bit more understanding and I would allow them into my bubble more. Whereas now I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to have more time to spend energy elsewhere because I realize now that we can't have that. And that's also a part of this pain.
Well, I think too, what I fully believe is that you don't have to have as much life experience as me with grief or anything else. But what I do expect from a friend, and this is a non-negotiable, is you must have the same level of emotional intelligence as I do. And I don't expect everyone to have gone through the same things I've gone through. That would be wildly insane. That would be also, absolutely nuts.
I don't want that for my friends. I love them too much.
But I do expect you as my friend and someone who I consider to be like a true peer in life, for you to have the same emotional intelligence, the empathy capacity, all that stuff. And if you are lacking that, which sometimes things like this can sort of show you who is lacking in that, then that's something that I should have seen all along. And maybe we got to keep it moving, because that's a hard one to come back from. Once that realization's made, it's kind of hard to come back from that. And when you're looking at your friend going, you're not very emotionally, you're there for me the way that maybe I thought you would be.
Right. And especially once you communicate that with someone, because I also think that if you want any kind of relationship to work out with anyone, you have to have the kahunas to say how you're feeling in a productive manner. You also have to calm yourself down and say, like, this is how I'm feeling. And if someone still doesn't get it then, and you explained it to them in a productive, calm, sharing manner, then you know.
Yeah.
And wow, look at how much energy you just got back. That's a gift.
If you have the balls to have a sit-down chat, explain how you're feeling, behavior doesn't change, and or they don't accept it the way that maybe it should be accepted or received, then you have your answer. And wow, look at all that energy you have. And I would like to invite you to block it.
Block it, but don't block us.
Please, please, please don't block. Don't block us now. All right.
No.
Whatever. Please rate, review, subscribe. Please send this episode to a friend.
Not the ones you block. Actually,
Maybe you can.
Wait,
I'm not sure.
Wait, maybe.
Please
Use your discernment.
Yeah. Give us a little follow on Instagram.
Don't block us.
Just give us a follow on Instagram if you feel like it. And with that, we will see you next Thursday.
Janine, take us home, sis. Ah!